Maximizing the value of your subscriptions of SLES for SAP Applications on Microsoft Azure. In today's webinar, you will learn more about SUSE's collaboration with Azure and how you can utilize your subscription of Microsoft Azure to operate your business more efficiently. Our speakers for today's webinar are Peter Schinagl, Senior Technical Architect for SUSE, and Sherry Yu, Global Alliance Director of SAP Architecture for SUSE. We'll start with Sherry.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome to the session. Today, we want to highlight our collaboration with Azure, especially with our thought leadership for the SAP solutions. And we want to review the technical components of your SLES for SAP subscriptions. And then we want to provide an update on the new solutions that can enhance the operational efficiency and security of your SAP landscape. Many solutions are only available on SUSE, which is very exciting. And also, we want to review the support process to help you increase the efficiency of the day-to-day operations. Then we're gonna wrap up the session with the resources, for example, the trainings available and also the references. If you want to take a look at the slide deck at a later time, it's going to be emailed to registered participants. So regarding SUSE's thought leadership and our collaboration with Azure, because SUSE is the development platform of SAP, especially for HANA, a lot of new solutions started with SUSE working closely with the SAP and also Azure to identify real-life customer challenges. And then we create a prototype and invite a customer to test the prototype and provide the feedback to us. And before the product is officially released, it went through a very long engineering process to make sure that the solution is complete and comprehensive. And a lot of efforts are not visible to our customers. That's why when customers compare vendors, they are looking at above sea level by doing a feature parity comparison. But please look deeper into the unseen efforts that SUSE put together with SAP and Microsoft Azure. The reason for using SUSE is because when issue arises, SUSE with the developer expertise can help customers quickly troubleshoot and resolve the issues. So that's the value for SUSE being the leader in the SAP space. And in today, we're going to provide some examples.
Yeah, with that, on that slide, we see some co-innovation with Microsoft for SLES by SAP. The articles are provided by Microsoft blogs, and they really highlight a few things. So we really built HA solutions for Azure within our SLES for SAP. Then we added monitoring capabilities between the HA scenario and the SAP system, and also their upcoming solutions from SUSE and from Microsoft. So we both have solutions about that topic co-developed. And also the automation framework for SAP, what Microsoft provides, was co-developed with SUSE. And so we have here much more. The other two examples are, for example, the fencing for the cluster. At the very beginning, there was no possibility to kill a virtual machine in Azure, but you need that for if the cluster detects there's a problem, you need a kill switch. And so as Azure did not have that at this initial time, we created a solution similar what we used on the bare metal world. But in the meantime, we have created feature requests also on Azure. In the meantime, there's also a native solution available, but all triggered by us. And the last example here is the HANA Large Instance. So this is a bare metal machine in the Azure cloud. And we developed here for Microsoft a method to install this bare metal similar to a virtual machine. So quite simply. This is not visible to customers because it helps Microsoft to roll out these large instances, but in the background, using our SUSE technology for providing such things. Then let me switch to the next slide. It shows a little bit how we can accelerate and safeguard the SAP landscape. I mentioned before the automation for SAP deployments, and there are more than one solutions here. And the thing with automation is it needs to take care of all these layers, what you see on the left. Yeah? So you need to take care of the infrastructure, of the operating system, configuration and manage, prepare the operating system. Then you can do the SAP install. Then on top of that, if you want to have a clustered configuration, you install and configure the cluster. And at the end, you want also monitoring of that whole landscape. Yeah? All this is done by automation frameworks. For the one I mentioned before, what we developed together with Azure, and also we providing own scenarios from SUSE for a simple one, and together with SAP, with the Linux lab. So we have more than one solution here. Really that all fitting to your scenario and your environment. On the right side, you will see other areas where we work, features or help in SAP areas. So for example, SLES for SAP, our SUSE Linux Enterprise server dedicated to SAP applications, has live patching included in the pay-as-you-go instances. It has also this Trento validation and monitoring solution built in. We provide secured hardened images in the Azure cloud for SAP. We have this sub-tune, auto-tuning for your SAP workload. We provide all the HA components, and with SUSE Manager, we can manage the whole landscape and patch and that, and also take care of security scenarios. All this is covered by premium support, and we will deeper dive into several of these topics in the next few slides.
So the exciting part for customers who have deployed your first SAP landscape on Azure, time may have passed, and right now we have just released several new solutions. So it's time to do an architecture review and also check whether any of the solutions would fit into your environment and help to increase the robustness and also the operational efficiency in your existing landscape. So each solution will be covered in this session in more details. I'm just going to go through the list very quickly. The first one is we just released security hardened image based on the industry and the federal standard, STIG and CIS. So if you have been looking for such solutions, we're gonna provide you with the method to security harden your existing SAP instances. And the next one is for HANA running in a cluster. We have enhanced the SLA in case index server crashes. So it's called a fast dying index server HA solution. And SUSE is a developer, and we worked with Azure to evaluate and test the solution in the Azure cloud infrastructure. So now the solution has been supported with a configuration guide already published. The next one is integration between the SUSE cluster and the HANA cockpit to avoid a split brain situation, because both management solutions can operate on the HANA instance, and without the coordination, this could lead to damage to the data integrity. So enhance the data integrity. We want to have one brain in control. So this solution is essentially to do that. Next one is the simple mount NFS structure for ASCS and ERS instances in Pacemaker. This is an enhancement from the classic setup where the cluster controls the shared file system of the instance directory of ASCS and ERS. And we have received some feedback on the operational difficulty, and also sometimes it may lead for like data integrity risk. So we have enhanced the architecture. So we're gonna talk about the details, why this is a better solution. And next one is the user space live patching. So for a very long time, a customer has been using the kernel live patching, and SUSE now has enhanced that to include user space live patching. And for the large HANA database, there is a very typical use case to use a user space live patching. So we're gonna talk about that. The glibc and the OpenSSL are the two typical libraries now can benefit from the user space live patching. Next one is the SAP landscape validation and monitoring. That's the project Trento that you may already heard of. It's created to enhance the transparency to your SAP landscape, especially when you have clusters running. And we can provide cluster level monitoring and also the validation, which is a very typical use case our customers use. Especially before go live, you can use Trento to do validation to make sure that the cluster setup is sticking to SUSE and Azure's requirements. The last one is the lifecycle management by using the SUSE Manager. And SUSE Manager is the only tool in the market that can manage mixed Linux environment. So we have customers typically we are running mixed Linux environment, especially, for example, you have Oracle running on Azure and the Oracle database, and any application that has a dependency on Oracle client have to run Oracle Linux. But for your HANA database, it may run on SUSE. And so you can easily use SUSE Manager to manage both environment. And of course, SUSE Manager can manage many other Linux distros.
Yeah, Sherry mentioned already the hardened images. So this is a little bit of overview on what we did. With the stick and CIS, both rule sets get combined because they provide overlapping rules, and we want to provide the best hardening here. And the gray area here in that slide that are rules, you can't apply on a pre-installation. You need to do that on a running system. And the other reason why not doing that, some rules, is that you run in the cloud. Stick is called, it's a standard. It's formalizing a way to formalize the hardening and of systems and applications. And we use here OpenSCAP. So we created this general project Compliance as Code, a profile for SLES and SLES for SAP for the cloud especially. Yeah? And these help really to minimize the effort to have a hardened SAP system in the cloud. Example for such rules, for example, Stick says you need to enable firewall. If you do that in the cloud, you cannot reach that machine anymore. Or, for example, you need to have our own partition for the home directory. But cloud images have only one partition, so you cannot do a second partition for the home directory. So such rules don't apply in the cloud environment, and this is what we removed from these and are special for the cloud environments. They're available for SLES for SAP 15 SP4 and newer. And you also can provide later on, after the running system, you can also apply these rules, but you can start also from scratch with it. So what is, this is, for example, the way how we do that for SLES 12 images. As mentioned, we're providing these rules only for SLES 15 or SLES for SAP 15. So you need to upgrade your 12 versions to 15 first. For this, we have also a tool in the cloud, the cloud distribution migration. You can also do this with SUSE Manager or directly with that tooling. And then you can apply manually that hardening or using SUSE Manager, because it also provides such mechanisms to do such security hardening and security scanning. Sherry mentioned also the fast dialing index server. So this picture shows a little bit what the issue is. So this happens, or the problem is it's very big HANA servers. The index server has a huge memory, and it takes a long time for the service to fail. If you look at these pictures, 1, 2, 3, 4, and at 5, HANA will show out it has a problem, but this is then a long time, and only at slide or picture 6, HANA does do a recovery. We have implemented a mechanism based on the internals from SAP. They provide hooks where we can check such things. We created here additional scripting that we have triggered the failover or the error that HANA shows an error much earlier, and therefore you can save hours with that. This is also documented here in the behind the links. There are some prerequisites because it's also only available for 15, not for 12. For new deployments, you simply follow the Azure configuration guide. It's all documented on Azure. And for your existing deployments, we have also documents on the SUSE page how to apply such hook. And the last point here is really you should test always your HA implementations, and this is also true for this one. The other thing Sherry mentioned as what we developed here, the problem on the NetWeaver side, we had this for years, that the tooling from Microsoft, the tooling from SAP and SUSE work together. And we have here nothing for HANA at the moment. And this is why we created also a solution. So also with the HR provider hooks, we can trigger such an additional hook. For example, when you run HANA failover manually from the cockpit does not know that it's a cluster behind. But with that hook, the cluster would recognize, oh, there is a, somebody wants to do a manual takeover and denies that. So for such an takeover, you normally need to do set the HANA into the maintenance mode, and then you can such moves. And this helps for such an unplanned switch, an administrator error, which helps that your database stays up and your data does not get destroyed.
So now let's take a look at the simple mount architecture. And in the classic ASS ERS HA configuration, SUSE developed the solution to use a file system resource agent to manage the shared file system directories used by the instance ASS and the ERS respectively. So the SAP hack has been using that solution in production for a very long time. However, they discovered some complexity. So for example, sometimes when a failover happens, the cluster need to unmount the shared directory from the failing node. But if that directory is blocked by a process that's still running, then the cluster had to do a forced unmount. Sometimes, after the forced unmount, mounting that directory on the new node doesn't work. That's why this is not a 100% working solution, even though that situation is very rare. So hack requested SUSE to find a new way. Then what we observed is, especially in the cloud environment, the shared file system is typically put on the shared on NFS. And in that case, we have an easy solution to, this is a comparison between the classic, the setup, and the simple mount. So first of all, by using the NFS, it's possible to mount all the directories at system boot. So those shared file systems are no longer managed by the cluster. So they are mounted at system boot on both nodes. And that's why you don't have to have actually the instance level directories. That's the third line item. And in order to accommodate this new the file system architecture, we have removed the file system resource agent from the cluster. And instead, in order to control the SAP Star Service framework process for the instances, we create a new resource agent. It has the same name as SAP Star Service, but so please don't be confused. This is the resource agent that you need to config. And we also provide some utility resources. So to make this a slide simple, and I just didn't mention those utilities because the configuration is all included in the configuration guide. But together, you have this whole new resource agent to manage the processes. And so from end user's perspective, right, the most significant change, as you can see, is the file system structure. In the past, you have to have separate directories. And now you can easily set up a sub mount and the user sub at the seed level. And that's up to your option. If you decide to have a finer level of structures, is up to your choice, right? But for this new solution to work, you can set up sub mount and user sub at seed level. And from end user perspective, right, this is also simplified. That's why it's called a simple mount. And for your deployment, if you are having a new deployment, we recommend that you start from scratch using this solution. The simple mount is now the default and the recommended on Azure. If you already have ASS and ERS running in the classic setup using a file system resource, right now we haven't created the configuration guide to document the process to switch to the simple mount. However, if you compare the difference, right, the difference is minimal. It's mainly around replacing remove the file system resource and implement the SAP Star Service new resource agent and the utilities. You can reuse the existing file system structure, but you need to make sure that they are mounted at system boot. If you are not sure how to do the switch by yourself, we welcome you to call SUSE services who can help you to do the switch. And at the end, as Peter mentioned, always test your configuration before putting that into production. So in the day-to operations, right, I mentioned live patching. So in addition to the kernel live patching, the user space live patching has been supported by SUSE, and actually user space live patching is only available from SUSE at this point of time. The live patching as a feature is included in your SLES for SAP pay-as-you-go images. So one typical use case I want to highlight is the support for the libraries. Currently, we support user space live patching for 2 libraries, GDBC and the OpenSSL. They are the dependencies of HANA. So for your very large HANA database, we encourage you to patch these 2 libraries as often as possible when patches are available. However, in the past, without user space live patching, you need to reboot HANA every time after the patching. Right now, with the help of the live patching, you don't have to reboot HANA for up to 12 months. This is a significant enhancement in the SLA for the very large HANA database. So we highly encourage you to utilize those features. Another solution that's included in your subscription, SLES for SAP, is the Trento. This is a quite new solution, about 2 years old, but a lot of customers on Azure has been implemented Trento in their SAP landscape. If you are interested, we can schedule a separate demo. But for this call, we just going to talk about the feature very quickly at high level. So it can automatically discover your SAP landscape that has the Trento agent installed, including the cluster. And on the left-hand side of the GUI, you can see the list of the categories that Trento can discover and categorize automatically. And also, Trento would check the configuration based on the best practice that SUSE and Azure put together. So within those checks, there are some Azure-specific checks that's very important, but sometimes it's easy to get ignored or overlooked by the customer. And it can also monitor your status, for example, the CPU and RAM utilization. That's the easy part, but what's significant with Trento is it can also monitor the status of your cluster, especially the status of the resources. For example, the HANA system application. You can see the status within this single GUI. So we try to provide a single pane of glass to give you the transparency of your SAP landscape on Azure. And as I mentioned, as a lot of customers found a very typical use case is the validation, because it can scan your configuration and check the configuration against the best practice. The typical use case is before go live, whether you have implemented the landscape by yourself or having a third-party consultant to do the work. You can use Trento to do a scan and validate before go live. It's a very effective way to avoid any last-minute surprise before go live. So it has helped customer to go live on time.
Yeah, and we also mentioned SUSE Manager as a single tool to manage Linux workloads. And SUSE Manager is like a Swiss Army knife for managing Linux system, because it can provide a lot of things. Initially, it was used for patching, and but in the meantime, it can do much more. For example, it can do CVE scanning. It shows you where you can, which machines you need to patch. It can do, like mentioned before, the OpenSCAP audit, that you get reports out of that. And for example, with the patches, it's quite important. Some security companies have scanners, but these scanners only go by version numbers or by names of packages, and not really what's inside of the package. And you get false positives in such environments. Because in an enterprise Linux distribution, the version of a package or of an application stays complete, stays at the same level, but we do backport the security fixes without changing the version number. So, and SUSE Manager is aware of that because it's from us, from the vendor. So you're sure that the tools we provide can provide accurate visibility into the affected service. There's much more. You can manage everywhere, on-prem, in the cloud, pay-as-you-go, bring your own, so you have everything. But the important thing, or the nice thing here, you can also have a similar functionality as in your SAP environment. You can build your own channels. So you can test packages before in a dev channel, and provide them then over to the QA in a QA channel to test this. And then if all is okay, then you can move that into the production channel for your production machine. So it's a similar scenario as you know from the SAP environment. So you can also do such things with SUSE Manager. Yeah, and this will really help also to provide and test patches and maintenance windows. Let's continue with SAP Tune. SAP Tune is really about the idea simplify all the SAP nodes. If you run SAP systems, you're aware that you need to read 5 to 10 SAP nodes for doing the right configuration for a solution, or even more. And Subtune is the idea that you do a simple one-liner, and all the configuration of the operating system is done. To look a little bit, so we provide quite a lot. It helps automatic configuring that, and we're looking a little bit deeper into that. For example, what's available, you type on the command line Subtune solution list, and you get a list of all solutions and the SAP node numbers, what's behind such solutions. Yeah. You can also do a simulate, for example, what would happen if I would apply these rules. And so Subtune solutions simulate, and I have chosen here HANA. And then you get a list of all the parameters you need to configure if you want to run a HANA system on SUSE Linux. And you see the actual version behind the value set, and you see the value, how it should look like. And this list is over two pages long, so I've cut it that it fits the screen here, so you can see what is gets applied. If you want to do that live, you can simply do Subtune solution apply HANA, and that's it. We have done quite a lot of SAP nodes and settings. You can also verify that with Subtune solution verify, and then your chosen solution, in this case also HANA. And it shows also the parameters in which SAP node this is mentioned, what is expected, and how your actual settings is, and if that is compliant or not. Also, this list is again longer as the screen, only to visualize how this looks like. So this is really helpful if you have done that one time for the next machines or scenarios. It's also really the one-liner Subtune solution apply, and that's it, what you need to do instead of configuring a lot of files and for different settings. You can also provide your own, so you can create your own nodes here with also this is possible. You also can exclude some values because you know you're setting this, for example, higher, this parameter, or this is possible. And it's active maintained by SUSE, so if there are new things, we do an update and you also get the new solutions here.
Yeah, before I move forward, I forgot to mention another typical Trento use case is, especially for our audience today, is the day two drifts. So identify the day two drifts, because Trento continuously check your environment. So any customization you do to your environment may create some drifts in your landscape. And with the help of Trento, you can effectively identify them in early stage. Because many times we found the outages is actually the result of accumulated minor issues that can be remediated in early stage. So Trento, with that in mind, can help you, increase the transparency. Okay, continue on. Regarding the support, if you haven't called support, congratulations, which means you don't have issue, right? But in case you do, there is an integrated support process among SAP Azure and SUSE. And it's a very effective three-way hand-holding to ensure the satisfaction for our customers. It's governed by the SAP support model. And behind the scene, Azure and SUSE work together, especially around the HA solutions. Because SUSE is developer, right? We have a lot of experience. So behind the scene, we help Azure to help troubleshoot and provide timely resolution. And you are highly recommended to go to follow this process. Sometimes we already have a SUSE customer who moved their workload from on-prem onto Azure, and they are so familiar with SUSE support, so they just open a ticket directly with SUSE. We welcome that. However, in many cases, the root cause may not be on the SUSE side. In that case, we have to ask you to open ticket with the responsible party. So especially with HA, sometimes we have seen that the customers say, okay, pacemaker doesn't work, right? SUSE, please help me troubleshoot. But sometimes it's only because the customer doesn't have the permission at the infrastructure level, or sometimes it's some issue related to Azure that you need to get help from Azure. So in that case, you have to turn around and open ticket with Azure. That may cause some delay. For that reason, that's a typical case that for that reason, you want to follow this process to avoid any delay. And if you have a large environment and with a very complex setup, we highly recommend that you get a premium support. It's a dedicated person that you can call, and that person would have in-depth knowledge of your landscape and your needs, and also he can help. That person can help recommend solutions on the roadmap to help you enhance the operation. And also the with the help of new solutions, that person already have lessons learned from our developers, and that's why the help from the premium support is tremendous.
Yeah, and this last thing we want to show is here the training. So there is free training available together with SAP, for example. They provide on OpenSAP some free HA trainings with SUSE or from SUSE. This was really one of the most used trainings on OpenSAP. And we also provide from our own training department e-learning, so you can learn on your own demand. But we also work with instructor-led training companies which provide our SUSE trainings. On the right side, you see an example to get complete certification, an enterprise administrator, and HA on top. And then the same thing for HA with HANA. So you can extend these, all are available. And we really highly recommend, especially in an HA scenario, that you get training for that, because HA is always a project and not only an application. What I forgot to mention is that that only the training and the premium support is not included in SLES for SAP. All other things we showed are really in your subscription already there. And you should make use of it. The last slide is as Sherry at the very beginning showed. We also want to provide you some references. The sub-solutions on Azure. So this is really created together with SUSE. This documentation is up to date. It has it's changing. So don't look at old versions. It's a living document. And it has also a change history if you like to see what's happened between the last time you looked at it or not. And please always use the latest online versions because they include the latest findings, the latest settings, the latest solutions. Our own SUSE best practices are also quite extensive, but they are more or less the baseline because they show how the solution works on bare metal. And the Azure solution is then updated from our best practices for the other infrastructure. Yeah. And so these are all on the baselines are on the SUSE documentation, but the cloud tweaks, let's say this, and in this way are on the Azure documentation. If you have questions, we also have an easy to remember contact, azure@suse.com, where the team from us is behind. So if you have questions, happy drop a note here. And with that, I think we are on the end. Any additional things from you, Sherry?
No, not from me. Yeah, thank you for staying till the end.
Yeah, so thanks a lot, and hope this helped you in your SAP environment.
Thanks for listening to today's webinar. Hopefully you gained some great insights from the information that was shared. As mentioned, the slides will be emailed to those who have registered for the webinar. Thanks again.